My name is Matt. I run the blog Abstract Gourmet. I have been running the blog since about 2005. Each year I forget how long that is, but it's quite a while. I live in Northbridge. This is my hood. This is where I am. It's where I like to be, where I like to eat, and yeah, it's cool. My earliest food memory was, I have a couple. I remember when we were living in New Zealand, my parents had, Dad just seemed to love to grow his own veggies. He wasn't necessarily the greatest gardener in the world, but he would always want to try and grow his own veggies. And so he would grow corn, and the corn would do really well, and we'd go out and there would be this huge forest of corn. And then once or twice a year we would go out and we would harvest it all. And then it was us, all of the kids' job to go and break down all the husks and pull it out. And I remember sitting in the kitchen and there was just this giant mound of corn, and then there would be one pile of husks and all the rest of all the stuff that came off, and then the other side was the ears of corn. And I don't know, I think corn was my favourite food when I was a kid, so yeah, that's always stuck with me. And the other one is that on Sundays, Mum would always, Sunday nights, Sunday days was like, we were the traditional Irish Catholic family, roast lamb, that was it, the big, you come back from church and Mum had a huge roast dinner. So Sunday night was always very low key, and so Mum would make pumpkin soup and cinnamon scrolls. So, and I remember just watching her rolling out the pastry and putting that sort of layers of cinnamon and rolling it over and then cutting it up into little pieces and onto the oven. And yeah, I started the blog mainly just because I was bored at work. People were asking me about restaurants and asking me about places to go, and I guess I always had an opinion on everything, so maybe it was just the fact that I was overly opinionated is what actually made me start the blog. But then once I started it and once I started to get into it, I realised that there was this kind of compulsion there for me to learn as much as I could about everything, and the blog was the reason to try a new recipe, the blog was a reason to go to a new restaurant, the blog was a reason to, I don't know, buy a new kind of kitchen implement or coffee machine or whatever it happened to be that I was into that particular week. It was almost sort of, they went hand in hand. So it just sort of developed from there. And I think it was just that sort of constantly needing to know everything all at once, which is, yeah, it's sort of just exploded. And that's sort of how I came to be who I am today. If I'm in a restaurant and I see duck or pork on the menu, pork belly or duck, it's tough. And if there's pork belly and duck on the menu, it's even tougher, because I'm like, I really want to get pork belly and I really want to get the duck. But yeah, anything sort of, I don't know, maybe I'm a little bit easily led as well, because like if a restaurateur or a chef is a little bit tricky, then they're going to suck me in every time, because all I have to do is put something a little bit kind of oddball, like some liver or some, you know, something that I might think that, you know, regular people aren't into so much, and then I have to have it. So I've realised that, like, while some people are fussy eaters, I'm sort of like, I'm a fussy dining partner chooser, because really, like, I want to sort of eat everything, and if people can't really appreciate all the different things on the table, if people are kind of picking around at different dishes or picking around certain things, or, you know, picking the coriander out of this and only eating this little piece of the chicken breast, then I don't know, for some reason it just irritates me. Like, I need to feel like everyone is just really getting into it. So oysters, absolutely. I love oysters. I could probably eat about 10 dozen oysters in one sitting. And if you don't like oysters, then it's tough. I'm sorry. I know there was a fairly disastrous dal incident quite a few years ago. I didn't really know what I was doing with dal. Lentils were kind of a new thing, but I thought, yeah, I can make this work, and it didn't work. It was really, really awful. I think that was one of the most depressing nights of my life. I was always kind of just waiting for someone crazy enough to come along and complete the food side of my world, and Marcella, my wife, just happened to be that person. She is a beautiful, natural cook who cooks from her heart, and her Colombian food that she makes is just simple and delicious. And the empanadas, we started making those at parties. We would take them around to friends' places, and they were just little maize flour pastries with shredded pork and beef inside and coriander, and then you wrap them up and deep fry them. And in Colombia they eat them for breakfast and lunch and dinner and on the streets, and there's a little empanada vendor just making it, and we thought, you know, every party we took them to, people would just love them and ate so many. We're like, well, we could do this. You know, I've talked about food, I've written about food, I eat a lot of food. Why can't I try and make some food and put myself out on the other side of things? And you know, it was a great opportunity, so we did it, and that's what we're doing now. So it's been really popular. First week at the hawker markets were crazy busy, but really good. So hopefully we can keep on giving Perth something different and something to try. Perth at the moment is an exciting place to be. Perth is kind of on the cusp of I think an explosion of culture and an explosion of people who are interested in making a difference to our way of lives. I mean, everyone talks about sort of mining money and how much, you know, all the revenue we get from that, and, you know, wages and all the things that sort of drive up prices in Perth. But I think at the moment there's a real groundswell of people who want to make a difference to the social life and to how Perth eats as well and drinks. Like, the small bar scene is really taking off, and there seems to be a lot more opportunities at the moment for people to do new and interesting and different things, and those sort of old sort of ways of doing things are on the way out. So Perth is great. We have so many different restaurants, so many different ethnic groups doing different things. We've got Chinese people, Korean people, Vietnamese people, Italians, Greeks. Like, there's thousands of really great restaurants, and all the more you have the beautiful weather and the rest of it besides. Like, you know, you don't have to compromise weather for having a great lifestyle. So no, Perth is where I want to be.